All right. Good morning, guys. Super excited about about recruiting with you guys this morning. So I am going to pull up my slides here and get started. So in our business, guys, recruiting is probably one of the most important fundamentals because that's going to help you kind of build your business if you want passive income, if you want residual income. Not everyone has to recruit, but there's definitely a ton of benefits to recruiting. So recruiting just means finding other people that can join your team that want to build a business, and then you can train and develop them to do the things that you do as well. So now when you look at the cycle here, there's going to be a cycle that you want to follow and get used to. Everyone's going to kind of have their own system, but you really want to figure out a good flow as far as what you do for recruiting. So today I'm going to go through kind of that process, that flow. I always like to start off with a little bit of mentality. So when you start really thinking about recruiting and making the decision to recruit, that you do want to have a team, you do want to have a business, you do want to have an organization, you have to start with your goals. I know it's the beginning of the year, so you want to make sure you're starting with goals, have your goals in mind, write them down and look at them on a regular basis. The next thing is you want to lead from the front. So if you want to have an organization, you don't want to be telling everybody, hey, you guys need to recruit, you need to recruit. You need to lead from the front and have people follow you. I played sports growing up. I was never this super outgoing, loud person, but I always led from the front with my just my characteristics, like having a strong work ethic, showing up on time, showing up early, just putting in the work on my end, and then people would follow from that. So make sure you're leading from the front. If you want your team to recruit, you got to recruit as well. Then you want to build a consistent activity schedule. So just make sure that on a day-to-day you set out to prospect regularly, make phone calls regularly, work with your trainer on a regular basis, because when you have that consistent activity, that will now lead to consistent growth over time. Sometimes people may say, hey, I'm going on this like activity spree, and they'll do a bunch of activity one day and then not do anything for a whole nother week. So you really want to get to the point to where you're just staying consistent every single day. If you have to start small, then do that and then work your way up to more activities, setting more recruiting meetings, texting more people, calling more people over time, and then you'll get that consistent growth. What's cool about our business is that we do have a system, and if you follow that system, it will work for you. And so it's not about saying different things to the same people. It's about saying the same things to different people, right? So we have scripts, we have things. I'll show you guys some examples as we go through today that on how we reach out to people, how we recruit, how we prospect. So it's not like you have to change the wheel, right? If it's working and we've gotten results from it, all you have to do is do it, follow it, copy it, and then do it as many times as possible, as many times as you can, right? To as many people. And then small daily improvements are key to staggering long-term results. So that's what I was saying earlier. If you're just getting started, say, hey, I'm going to try to get one new prospect a day. What's a prospect? It's a new contact in your business, whether it's a contact for a client or it's a contact for your team, somebody that's interested in making extra money. But just focus on doing something small and build up over time. And then eventually what you want to start learning is the ratios in recruiting, right? So there's some ratios. This is what I've known for a long time now through training with Shaquille and Samir, is that our ratios are 10-4-1. So what does that stand for? That just means if you invite 10 people to Shaq's webinar or to watch the animated video, out of those 10 people, maybe 4 may show up or potentially be interested. And when they show up and you do like a follow-up meeting or a follow-up call with them, out of those 4, one person is going to be like, yeah, I'm ready to get started. So that's like worst case scenario. And why do I like to talk about ratios? Because it kind of can keep you in the right headspace, right? The right mindset. Because sometimes people say, wow, I've talked to a lot of people and I haven't got any results. Well, sometimes what is a lot? If you talk to 2 people, then that might not be a good number to kind of work with. But you want to kind of learn these ratios because it can help you stay from keeping frustrated. And then it can also help you realize, hey, when you talk to your trainer, your upline, hey, Shondell, hey, Jen, hey, Shaq, I've talked to this amount of people. This is kind of what happened. What can I do to improve? But if we're not really working on the on understanding kind of what we've been doing, it's tough on our coach's side to kind of help us in that situation. So just kind of tracking what you need to do on a regular basis is very important in that area as well. So that's just some mindset starting off. So what I'm going to do now is go through the recruiting flow. So here, everything is going to start with prospecting. So like I said earlier, that's getting a new contact. I like to say prospecting is making new friends, right? You're meeting people that you can introduce with an intention, with a purpose within your business, whether it's a client or a recruit. Today, I'm going to be specifically talking about recruiting, right? So you want to get a new name, contact, phone number, then we're going to text them or call or send a message if it's through social media. Then we're going to have them watch the animated video or the expansion webinar, Shaq's expansion webinar. Then after that, we have to do some type of follow-up with them, right? To kind of gauge where they're at, see if they're open to exploring the opportunity. I call that a follow-up meeting. Then in the follow-up meeting, you're going to see if you're able to close them. Close them means getting them started, right? Having them submit their paperwork to get their licensing. Then we're going to schedule an orientation, have them watch a video for that, and then do their fast start meeting. Fast start meeting is where we're going to help that new recruit understand what they're going to need to focus on when they get started. And then from there, help them build a list, get their list. Hey, how are we going to help you build a team, build your client base, show you the process for all of that. And then you kind of repeat that cycle. So then if you get a list, then now you start building a team for that person and you continue to go through the same process. So it's all a flow, it's all a system. And what you want to do is understand this system for yourself and from your upline, and then just continue to kind of repeat that as many times as you can. So that's the flow. What I'm going to do now is just kind of go through not every single example of prospecting, but some options that you guys can potentially utilize. Okay. When we talk about prospecting, there's so many different ways that you can prospect and meet people. You really just want to try to find 2 to 3 that you're really good at, that you can do on a regular basis. 2 to 3 forms of prospecting that you can master and make sure you do that regularly. So one option is you can literally go through your phone on a day-to-day and just send out text messages to contacts in your phone, right? People that you know. Hopefully they know you as well, and you're not just texting somebody that you don't know, but you want to text people in your phone, right? So that's a starting point. There's something called steaming, right? So steaming your friends and family. So maybe you talk to a friend or a family member and they're not necessarily interested in the business or becoming a client. That's fine. There's something called steaming, which means you just ask them for introductions to other people. So S stands for, hey, Jen, do you know anybody that might be good at sales or has been in sales before? Right? Anybody that, so the T is teacher, is good at teaching or has been a teacher in the past. They like teaching, maybe mentoring people. Anybody that's excited or has enthusiasm, that's the E. Do you know anybody that's ambitious, right? That has big goals, things that they want to accomplish? Do you know anybody that's money motivated, right? So you can talk to friends and family and just ask them if they know anybody, right? Staying in your warm market is very, very important. And that's a way that you can continue to do that. Facebook is another way that you can reach out to people. A lot of people sometimes don't have people's phone numbers, so they can't send a text to that person right away, but they have them on Facebook. So then they can send them a message there. And I'll go through a little bit of that in a second. Your recruit's warm market. So if you are building a team and working with a team, you can, or if you're working with a trainer, you can now send out a 3-way text message where now you're kind of introducing that person to your trainer. And then now they can help you kind of talk to them about the business or setting up a training appointment. Clients, guys, clients is a great way to prospect. Talk to your clients, ask them if they know people that might be open to other opportunities, maybe even themselves. A lot of times we find that our best recruits come from people that are our clients already. And we say that clients are 50% recruited because they already believe in the product and service, right? So you can talk to your clients about being in the business as well. And then these last three options here are what we kind of called cold market prospecting, but these are where you meet people that you don't know, right? So you can go F to F stands for face to face, right? So that means if you're out and about, you can just talk to somebody. Maybe you're at the grocery store, you have a good conversation with somebody, the cashier, you're at the gym, you go to the mall, you're at work, maybe you drop a conversation with somebody. If you do things that you love to do, I played soccer, so talking to people on soccer teams, or like I know Josh on my team plays football, or if you go and you eat out at a restaurant, you have a really nice waiter, or the manager is awesome and you get a chance to talk to them, there's conversations that you can have to just kind of get a contact and kind of pique their interest to see if they're open. And then LinkedIn is another resource, and also people can call resumes. So these are some various ways. There's ways that I like to prospect. My top three is usually going to be my warm market, my recruits warm market, and then LinkedIn, right? So you find the ones that you can get good at and then focus on that moving forward. So let's go through a couple of these examples, guys. I know we're gonna have the slides up on our Telegram thread for you guys to look back at, but these are just some examples that you guys can maybe take down and start to use. I got this text message from Samir. So this is a text that you can send out to somebody to try to set up a qualified appointment. Maybe you're not in that training phase and you're not sending out a three-way text asking, hey, I have a favor, I need a character reference, but maybe you're newly licensed, right? So this text says, hey Shaq, how are you? I haven't talked to you in a while, but I was just thinking about you. I started working with a financial company and I'm now licensed. I need some help building my client base. You actually fit the exact demographics of people that we can look for. So I was wondering if I could sit down with you and your spouse and just simply show you what I do. If you see value in it, maybe you could potentially refer me to others in a similar situation. And of course, there's no obligation. Would you be willing to do me that favor? Great way to send out a message to somebody like, hey, you know, somebody at church that's married, they have kids, and you just want to reach out to them and ask them, hey, would you be willing to sit down with me, right? From your gym, same aspect. So this is a great message to send to your warm market. Another way to reach out for recruiting in your warm market is you can either use this same message on Facebook. I use it on Facebook, or you can text somebody directly if you do have their number. So here's an example. So hey Jen, I hope you and your family are doing well during 2022, staying safe and healthy. Not sure if you're aware or not, but Mike and I, we have our own business running a financial firm, and we're looking for new talent who would like to work remotely. Just curious, when it comes to opportunities for work or income, do you keep your options open, right? And then Jen says, yeah, I do. Awesome. If you're already texting them, you have their number. If you're on Facebook and you don't have their number, you want to get their number, right? I usually try not to have too much of my conversation on social media. I want to get their contact so then I can stay in touch with them over time. But get the phone number. And then once they say, yeah, I'm open, then just send them a message saying, hey, well, I have a brief webinar, which if you guys don't know, we do have a short, like, animated webinar. It's about 18 minutes or so, but it goes over all of the aspects of our business. You can send that to them, right? Or talk to your trainer upline and ask about that. Send it to them, and then they can get some information about the company and then set up a time to meet with them afterwards for a follow-up, either a phone call or meet on Zoom, right? So that's another great way to reach out to your warm market, either through just texting in your phone or through Facebook. Now, for everyone that's new, maybe you're not reaching out to people on your own yet. Maybe you're like, Chanel, I'm nervous. I don't want to talk to anybody myself. That's fine. Utilize your trainer, utilize your upline. And this three-way text message is absolutely amazing for you guys, because now you put all the heavy work in our hands, right? And we can kind of do that work for you. So if you're looking to build your team or set up your training appointments, you guys should have seen messages kind of similar to this before if you've done your fast start meetings. But if you're a trainer in that situation, you want to make sure you're utilizing these text messages as well. So, hey Xiomara, I have a favor. I just started working with a new company, listed you as a character reference and to help with my training. Please say great things about me and expect a call from my trainer, Jen. She's included on this message, right? And it'll have Jen's phone number. Now it's an introduction, and now Jen can contact Xiomara and set up a training presentation for you. Now, on the flip side, if it was for recruiting, then let's say, for example, we say, hey, Cheryl, I just started working with a company part-time. They're looking for some money-motivated people that like helping others and keeping their options open. I thought of you, expect a call from Shaq. Here's his number. He's also on this message, right? So now Shaq can reach out to that person, reach out to Cheryl for you, and then, hey, cool, set up a time for a webinar or a time to have a conversation about the business. So these are aspects that you can kind of start off with if you're brand new and you're like, I don't know if I want to reach out to people on my own yet. And if people have questions, I'm assuming you can put questions in the chat, and then I can kind of answer some at the end once we're wrapped up. Now, face-to-face. So this is like, if you're bold, if you like talking to people, I know Jen is amazing at this. I think CEO is also really good at this. Josh on our team is great at face-to-face prospecting. I did this for many years, where you just talk to somebody while you're out and about. So if I'm at the store, or maybe more so at a restaurant, right, and I have a great waiter, they're super nice, maybe they hook me up with free food or something like that at the end, and you just ask, you just pop the question, hey, I was just wondering, so for a waiter, I'm not going to say if you can help me out real quick, but hey, I was just wondering, my husband and I, we actually help run a financial firm in the area, and we're currently expanding, looking for people that want to work remotely. Do you happen to know anybody else that might be looking, or would you be open to exploring something, either full-time or part-time, if it was a better option? And you can just ask. You don't know how many people are just like dying to find another opportunity. And when you ask, you can get a good contact number. Some advice here, don't try to have a full-blown conversation about the business once you get that contact there. Just find out when's a good time that you can reach back out to them, and then you can have a conversation later over a phone, set up a time to maybe meet with them on Zoom, or if you're working in person now, in an office, right? But that's face-to-face. It could be a waiter, it could be the cashier, it could be, I know in some states people pump your gas, things like just anybody that you can talk to, right? If you go into an Uber, I've heard countless stories from Jen Lee prospecting an Uber driver, right, before she was driving. So you can talk to anybody and you can find amazing talent through that. I think my entire team kind of stemming down, my dad was prospected as a manager, and that brought me into the business, that brought Josh into the business, all of that just from talking to one person, Dante talking to one person out and about. Now, one of the ways that I like to prospect a lot is through LinkedIn. And so with that, I send this message out, and if you guys don't have a LinkedIn, cool. If not, this is a way that you could potentially reach out to people. But I just sent a brief message. Hey, Jen, we're looking for people in business professionals with leadership, management, or customer service experience to be a part of our team. You don't have to leave your full-time job. Would you be interested in learning more? Just a simple question, and see if that person responds. On LinkedIn, you can reach out to people in various fields. I was an athlete, right? And I like fitness. So sometimes I'll reach out to fitness professionals. Sometimes people reach out to people in the military, if that's kind of their area. Sometimes people are just in different backgrounds, and you find something that you can relate to and reach out to people like that, right? If they respond, then I'll say, great. I just usually like to get you as much information as possible. We have a webinar. We can get you scheduled with all the details about the role, the training, and the compensation. And then if you're sending this out and you're not independent yet, it'll say afterwards, my hiring manager and I can meet with you briefly on Zoom to get to know you and see if it's a mutual fit. Would that work? They say, yeah, great. Schedule a time, set up something with your trainer, or if you're doing it on your own, get them scheduled and then follow up. Now, I don't ever want to leave any stone unturned. So if that person tells me no, I'm still going to ask another question. Okay, well, thanks, Jen. I know you're not interested in the opportunity. Thanks for letting me know. But would you be open to watching a short 15-minute webinar about how I help families financially, and leave me some feedback in the survey at the end? I can send you the link, then maybe you can refer me to people in the future. So even if they say no, I can potentially just say, hey, great. maybe they watch the video, maybe they are interested in becoming a client, because everybody needs what we do, guys. So that's just one, those are a couple of the ways that I prospect on LinkedIn. So that gives you a couple examples, couple ideas. If people have questions, again, you can ask me. But now I'm just going to run through steps to get an IBA and what you need to do in your fast start meeting, because that's the last section of the cycle, right? After you get them, you prospect them, you schedule them, and these are the last two things you got to do with a new recruit. So when you're looking to get the IBA, get them started, this is my sequence. It might be different for a couple other people, but this is what I do. So step one, I get online, I thank them for their time. Thank you, Cheryl, for hopping on the meeting today. Hopefully you got a lot of great information from the webinar with Shaquille. And what I like to do is just find out a little bit about you, find out what you liked about the webinar, tell you a little bit about me, and then figure out if there could be a mutual fit. So I outline the meeting, thank them, and then outline the meeting. Then I'll have build rapport. Form is a way that I use to build rapport. So ask them a little bit about their family. Where do you live now? Where are you from? Are you all originally from that area? What are you doing now for work? Do you like it? Do you love it? What might you be looking to get into? And then anything, do you like to do anything for fun, recreation, anything that's motivating you right now? And then what did you like about the webinar? I ask people about this because now, if they tell me what they like, then I can go through my personal story and kind of relate to the things that they told me that they liked, right? So I always ask, what did you like about the webinar? Oh, I loved that Shaq talked about the cash flow quadrant, and oh my gosh, I've been in the same situation. I've been laid off before, or whatever the case may be. And then you can kind of relate to that. Or someone's like, oh, I don't know, man. I've never been a talker. I don't think I'm a salesperson, or things like that. Great, I can relate to that because that wasn't me either. So you can find good points that kind of stuck out to them and then relate it while you're telling your personal story. Then after that, I'll find out which path makes the most sense for them. So that could be, hey, what is, some people say, Chanel, I'm not necessarily interested in the opportunity, but I'd love to become a client. Maybe, so that's kind of path one, maybe becoming a client, getting my own financial plan. Path two is I just want to do something part-time, flexible, from home. Or three, hey, I would really love to run a business. I'm okay with starting part-time, but I'd love to transition to a full-time career and build a six-figure income. So find out which option is the best for that person, and then answer their questions. And hey, Jen, any questions you may have about the business, anything you feel Shaquille didn't answer, anything you feel that the webinar you watched didn't go through clearly, any questions you have for me, address them. Or are you ready to just figure out how to get started with the licensing? So I ask that. If people have questions, they'll ask me their questions. If they don't have any questions, I just get right into the licensing and the requirements. So that's step 7. That's where we're at now. So licensing and requirements, I just tell them about the background check, right? The application, the 124 that need to be submitted for that. Then I'm going to talk about showing up to training, making sure they can do that. We have trainings on Saturdays. And then can they set aside 8 to 10 hours a week? So whatever commitments that you and your team ask for, I will ask for those as well, and see if they have any questions about those things. If they don't have any questions, I get some last minute kind of what I call light closes. So I'm gonna say, all right, Jen, as far as the licensing goes, would there be anything that would come up to prevent you from passing a background check? No. Okay, awesome. If we gave you all the study materials, everything you needed to be able to pass the test, all you got to do is get 70%. It's multiple choice. You think you'd be able to pass an exam? Great. Awesome. As far as Saturday training, would there be anything that prevents you from being available on Saturdays from 9:30 to 11:30? And if they're local, meet in our office? No, nothing. Okay, perfect. And then I guess, can you set aside at least 8 to 10 hours a week with your current schedule? Yeah, that's doable. That's super easy. Perfect. And then the last thing is, all right, well, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how would you rate your excitement to get licensed and give it a shot part-time? Oh, 10. Perfect. Once I get those commitments, I'm rolling into getting the IBA. Then I'll say, okay, great. We just got to submit your paperwork, the background check. I'll pull up my screen, share it with you, go through that process, submit the IBA, get them scheduled for class, guys. I do that right away. If there is a class that they can go to on Zoom, and then schedule their orientation fast start meeting. and have them download the apps that they need, the Primerica app and Telegram. And then, so that's getting a new person started. So even though these are all the steps here, and these are all very, very important, the next meeting is even more important, guys, right? So this is the most important meeting, your fast start meeting. Some people just call this your orientation. I call it your fast start. So this is critical with working with your new recruit or a new teammate, because you want to help them get started and move quickly. So these are the last bullet points I'll go through with you guys. Your new recruit needs to watch the orientation on YouTube. So we have that on our YouTube channel. It's a great way for them to connect to our channel as well. But they watch that, and Samir does an amazing job at answering a majority of the questions that people kind of have between getting started and what we're going to actually have to do as far as helping them with the business. So with that, instead of you having to answer all these questions that people tend to ask, it's all going to be answered if they can watch that orientation video. So that's number one. Then when you actually meet back with them on Zoom, or if you're meeting with people in person, you're going to set some expectations. Just have good communication with me. Make sure you're consistent. Make sure you show up to training and be coachable to our system. And then this is something that I've kind of shifted to because we want to make sure licensing is a focus. If their licensing isn't set up yet, I try to help them make sure it gets set up on UCAN-Pass. So I tell people to set that up before we meet back. If they don't, then I'm gonna say, hey, Jen, did you get your study materials set up? Yeah, but I kind of got stuck here. Okay, let's get on it. Let's make sure it's set up, because we need to make sure people are getting licensed. That's critical right now. So that's huge. Then I'm gonna go over their schedule, their availability, all the training times we have. I'm gonna recap Macho, which, if you guys don't know what that is, that's our qualified market, married, age 25 to 55, children, homeowner, working. Recap that from the video, go over a brief insurance compensation example, talk about their field training bonus, what they need to do to get that, get a recruit, $1,000 in premium, go over the Vivint bonus. They can get an iPad if they sell a Vivint in their first 30 days. And then go over the 3-way text message, because that's what I teach my new teammates to utilize us at the beginning. Some people will utilize FEETHOR, which is, hey, if they're making the call, I have a favor, I'm excited, going through training, I need help, just want to get your opinion, and maybe you can refer me to some people. That's the FEETHOR script for new people. And then you make the list. So all of that up to this point of making the list is just kind of recapping some information. You want to get through that as quickly as you can. But the majority of your time is you want to focus on building that list with that teammate, sending out the text messages or making phone calls with them right then and there. I always like to set up their first personal qualified appointment if they are qualified themselves before I kind of do any other meetings with them. So they get a chance to kind of see the presentation, ask me questions. And it's not like, whoa, I didn't know we were going to talk about all that when we start talking to other people that they may know. So that's kind of my process. And then once you do that, this is a big adjustment that I've been talking to Shaq about, is having work sessions with your teammates or with your recruits on a regular basis. So meeting with them, talking about their list, extending their list, making calls, inviting people to the op meeting, inviting people to the office, right? Doing that regularly in between trainings, right? You don't want to just see your recruit Saturday and then see them the next Saturday and not do anything with them throughout the week if they don't have appointments. Preferably, you want them watching you doing the recruiting meetings. You want them watching you doing the qualified appointments. But if they don't have a lot of things going on, get some list work in, making some calls, getting some things done. So that's kind of my recruiting process. And then you just repeat it with everyone that you're bringing in. So that's all I kind of have. So I don't know if anybody has questions, or Shaq, if you want to just transition.
All right, thank you, Shondell. I don't know if you just unmuted me or you made me the host.
Yeah,
Hold on for a second. All right, nice job, Shondell. I took a bunch of notes. Incredible recruiting clinic, really, from A to Z. Just so thorough, so detailed. I will piggyback a little bit as Jen gets ready, and I'll Jen, you can prepare your PowerPoint. What you focus on grows, and what you spend your time doing, you'll get better at. Always remember that. All right. Most people, when they start new projects or they start doing something new, always remember you're always, okay, it's very rare. But if you're like anybody, and most of us, you're bad at anything you start. Okay. When you get started. Now, some people have a little bit more talent in the beginning, but that really can only carry you so far. If you learn an instrument, right? Like my son, he's doing the trumpet, right? Which is a huge mistake, right? He should have done chorus, no instruments, right? This goes out to any parent. And I mean, this thing is just the most awful sound ever produced by any sort of material in the world. And it's loud, it's obnoxious, you don't know if an animal's dying or somebody's dying. I mean, it's just terrible. And whatever it is, it's January now, so he started in August when he went to school, and he's getting good. I can actually hear the songs that he's playing now. So my son is into Star Wars, so if he's playing whatever, the Imperial March, I can hear the song that he's trying to play, and he's getting better. And it's been 6 months, and most people, they give up before the 6 months. And it's just like this with recruiting, right? So Shondell, obviously, she's very thorough. She does the same process. She's refined her process, but she's been doing this for a long time. And so if you are getting back into it, or you're starting, or you have a goal, and you got to figure out how to create your path and how it's going to work for you. But remember, you're always going to be bad, not always, but most of the time, you're going to be bad in the very beginning, and you only get better. And if you keep focusing on that, eventually you can get good. And, when Shondell talks about talking to people and messaging people, and she gave great scripts, and all this stuff will be on our YouTube channel. So you can, Thomas will post that to the chat and on our Telegram thread. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, because then all the recorded trainings are there, as well as our Telegram thread. We send all the PowerPoints, so you can get these scripts. You can kind of make notes. You can screenshot it, whatever. But you need to learn magic questions. Okay, write that down. Magic questions when talking to people. Would you consider another opportunity if the income were right? If you can make an extra $20,000 to $30,000 a year part-time, would you be open? These are questions that just get people thinking. Their mind spins a little bit. They start, you're doing inception on them. You're placing an idea. If you could get your licenses and help people at no risk to your current career, would you be interested in learning more? If you could start part-time and then potentially quit your job, is that something that you'd be interested to take a look at? Right? I mean, and you learn these questions, and we always go through questions. Always remember, prospecting and recruiting is all about questions, all about questions. And Shondell said something in the mindset. It was 100% accurate. This is not about saying new things. It's about saying the same thing over and over again till you find people. And that's the number one thing with recruiters, right? I have a service that we use when we send these animated videos. It's called Link Magnet. And the Link Magnet tracks how many people are sending the videos. And our number one recruiter with the videos is Josh. It's not even close. With animated videos, Josh recruits the most people, Josh Perez. And if you look at the numbers of the amount of people sending out and watching, so it's not that Josh is much better. He's sending more videos out. Now that in turn will make his skills better. But you have to talk to more people. That's it. Most people just don't talk to enough people. They talk to 1, 2, 3, and that's not enough. All right. So if we're going to have a big recruiting goal and a big recruiting year, we got to talk to a bunch of people. All right.